Hi. Brandon Walker, more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country, coming to you from the SEC Country studios in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful, snowy still, icy. Still some snow out there, still some ice. Treacherous driving conditions, but I care about you. I love you guys. So I decided to leave my house with 9 kids and 2 wives and come down here and do this show. Because mostly for my sanity, but also for yours. Because I know that you need me on a daily basis, as I need you. So, on today's show, hello, Byron. Hello, Saltillo, Mississippi, Mac McBrayer. We're going to have Steve Robertson. You're going to call him, you know the drill right now. Okay,
yep.
We're good. We're going to call him today. We're going to talk about recruiting, talk about official visitors this weekend for Mississippi State, what it will look like. We'll have our weekly conversation with Steve Robertson. My mic seems low. Everything good there? My mic good? Okay, very, very good. Hello, Flowwood, Darren Butler. Hello, Sulligent, Alabama. Snowy Little Rock is D. Curtis. Pamela Ulmer checking in from Laurel, Mississippi. Brandon, Mississippi has Chad Edwards. Hail State from my truck, says Scott Murphyville. No idea where that truck is, but hopefully it's in a dry, safe place. Liberty, Mississippi, down there at Miss K's home plate. Dadgum cold and Gulf breeze. Yeah, it's cold everywhere, Bunny. It is cold out there. It's cold in Atlanta. Look at these kids out here. Hey, how are y'all doing? Oh, they have no idea. All right, whose kids are those?
I think Patrick's kids.
Patrick's kids. That's awesome. Patrick has kids?
Yes.
Wow. You think you know a guy. Hail State from sunny, freezing St. Petersburg, Florida. Yeah, I'm sure it's freezing in St. Petersburg, Florida. What is it, 68, 66? Jim Blakeney. Oh, come on, Jim Blakeney. Not reading that. What does that even mean? Hernando, Mississippi. Randall Collins is in Colorado. That really kind of made that tricky. Randall, Colorado. That's what I'm calling you from now on, Randall Collins. Just kind of combines 2 words there. It is 30, Justin Andrews says. Hail State from Point City. Point City checking in. Always good to have Point City. Point City has produced some great people. Me. Just me. Mostly me. 100% me. Brandon Walker. Oh, there's others, yeah, but mostly me. McDonough, Georgia. Haven't seen McDonough here before. Checking in from Brazil, Ignacio DeMarco. Another Point City, TC. Thomas Lenore. I saw Thomas Lenore at the Tax Slayer Bowl on the front row. Still don't know how you afforded those tickets. I still want to get the usher about that. But, hey, you do you. Good morning, Bubba Scott. Hail State, Benny Aaron. What do you think about Freeze going to Bama? He's not going as offensive coordinator. He might go as some sort of analyst, but I certainly don't fear it at all. Hugh Freeze's offensive juggernaut coach, I think, is overstated. And second of all, he can't run the ball. Whenever he even has the talent, he never knew how to run the ball. So I just don't think he fits at Alabama. Let him go. Let him have fun in Tuscaloosa. I'm sure there's new bars for him to go to and new ladies for him to meet. Alatoona, not far from here. Gore Springs, Mississippi. Hello from Heatwave, Houston, Mississippi. It's a blistering 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Another Point City. I think we got 3 Point Cities in here today. We got a lot of Point City. A lot of representation. West Point people are proud of me. Or they're just trying to make sure they think I've skipped bail and left town. One or the other. Hail State from Loosedale, Gulfport, South Mississippi checking in twice in a row. Loosedale's way down there, right? Isn't Loosedale George County? You don't know, Turp.
Yeah, I do, exactly. That's right.
Yeah?
It's George County.
Yeah. George County about every 10 years will have an epic football team, and then they'll be average, but then they'll just have an epic football team about once every 10 years. Raleigh, North Carolina, hello. Biloxi, Mississippi, hello. We're going to have Steve Robertson on the show. Then we're going to talk about basketball. Then we're going to talk about women's basketball. I guess those are one and the same. And then we will today's top 5, I'm going off script a little bit. I'm going non-sports. The top 5 songs that I will scream at the top of my lungs in the car, but when somebody else pulls up next to me, I will turn it down for fear of being embarrassed. Again, my top 5 songs I will scream at the top of my lungs in my car, but when someone pulls up next to me, I will turn down for fear of being embarrassed. That is today's top 5. And it's one heck of a list. You might have your own top 5 list of songs that just make you go insane and scream them at the top of your lungs, but you don't really want everybody to know that. However, we're family here, so I'll tell you my songs. I'm not ashamed. There's no shame in my game. Derek Whitford. Derek Whitford is my old college roommate, and he just nailed my number 1 song, just right there. Jason Neal Galt says, "Living on a Prayer." I'm not ashamed of "Living on a Prayer," though. I'll scream that one, and I just assume that's one of those songs when another car pulls up next to you, you just assume they'll start singing it with you. Love Story, Taylor Swift. Wow, this is getting good. This is getting good. Save this conversation. When I come back after the show, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the songs you'll scream at the top of your lungs, but maybe when somebody pulls up, you do this whole, do that whole number there. And Don't Stop Believing. Highway to the Danger Zone. Wow, good songs here. Mac McBrayer hits another one on my list. We've got 2 on my list. Mac McBrayer hits 1 on my list. Yeah, all right, good stuff. We'll have Steve Robertson as soon as we get started. I know we're kind of dragging a little bit, but we'll have Steve Robertson to talk recruiting. As soon as you get me in, you get him on the phone, and we'll get started with him. Terp wearing his More Cowbell shirt. I forgot mine. The weather got us. Sweet Caroline. That's another one where you don't necessarily stop that one. You can see the whole highway start singing that song.
I feel like a lot of these aren't that embarrassing that they're saying.
Well, it's just it might be embarrassing to the point you would sing it. Like if you would sing it so loud and so awful that it embarrasses you to sing it. Because I have the voice of an angel. I have a beautiful voice that everybody needs to hear. But there are some songs that they don't need to hear at all. All right. Hello, Point City. Hello, Junior Ray. Now we're gonna have Steve Robertson. Oh, Sean Barker with a good one. I should have done that one. Sean Barker says, "Let It Go." Yeah, that's a good one. Let It Go. Oh man. Yeah, you're right. That's a fantastic one, Sean. Somebody asked for a Caesar update. Caesar Perez, our friend here on the show that often helps us, does the graphics, did this graphic right back here. Had a car wreck last week and was in a coma. Terp, as far as I know, he's still in the same state, right? He still hasn't come out of that yet. I know we're sending a delegation down today. I was supposed to be in it, but something came up. So we're sending some people down to the hospital he's at now today. So hopefully we'll have a good update very, very soon. Wayne Briggs says, "Hail State, Wayne from New Orleans, Keaton Thompson's grandfather." Well, Wayne Briggs, welcome to this show. I read that you were on the show earlier this week, and I was, doing my thing, so I didn't get to talk to you. But first of all, we're all Keaton Thompson fans here, and we're all excited to have him. We're excited about the future, and thank you for joining this show because Keaton Thompson, in my opinion, one of the most exciting Bulldogs to come around in a long, long time. That's awesome. If that Keaton Thompson's grandfather checking in, Keaton Thompson, the quarterback from Mississippi State that won the Egg Bowl, the Gator Bowl, excuse me, not the Egg Bowl. Don't mean to bring up anything bad, but that's awesome to have his grandfather here, and please continue coming back because I'm going to continue talking well of your grandson. All right, let's do it. You ready? Fire me up.
Okay.
More Cowbell Show. Brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, Brandon Walker. More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country, coming to you from this snowy but beautiful day here in Atlanta, Georgia, the SEC Country Studios. It's freezing outside, but it is warm in here because I've got the microphone and I've got a lot to say. We're going to have Steve Robertson on the show today. We're going to talk about recruiting. We're going to talk about official visitors this weekend for Mississippi State. We'll talk a little basketball, men's and women's. And then today's top five will be the top 5 songs that I will scream at the top of my lungs in my car, but when someone pulls up next to me, I will turn it down for fear of being embarrassed. If you want to write that down again, that's the top 5 songs I will scream at the top of my lungs in my car, but will turn down as soon as someone pulls up next to me for fear of being embarrassed. But we'll talk about recruiting mostly. We'll have Steve Robertson on this show, and looks like I'm getting the thumbs up. We've already got Steve ready, so let's jump right into it. There's no reason to dilly-dally here on the show. Big recruiting weekend, as I guess they all will be coming up, as signing day in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks from now, first week of February. Early signing period's already happened. State has 15 signees already on the books, but now they got to finish out the class. So we turn to the expert. We turn to Steve Robertson, who covers recruiting in the state of Mississippi better than anybody. Steve, welcome to the show.
Brandon, so nice to be back.
It's always nice to have you here, Steve. We get along. We're great friends, and we have a good time together, don't we?
Oh, I think so. I think that I think there should be memes with our names attached to them. Hashtag friendship goals for other people.
You know what? Let's work on getting that picture sometime soon. Okay, let's work on getting that very, very soon. So I want to talk recruiting, and Mississippi State is going into. I guess this is the first big recruiting visit weekend because we didn't really have anybody last weekend. So give me the names, Steve. I know you have a show on Bulldog Sports Radio that you probably already revealed this information. Give me the names of players State fans have to watch for visiting this weekend.
Well, it's. I think we're kind of redefining what a recruiting weekend is. You know, Brandon. You know, back years in recent years, we've had these 20 and 25 type official visit weekends where really they're kind of counterproductive because your coaching staff can't spend quality time with everybody, and ultimately somebody feels left out. And Dan Mullen and his crew kind of did it. Maybe 10 or 12. That way, everybody could get the proper attention. But these official visit weekends with the new signing period have really kind of pared things down a bit. State's expected to host 6 official visitors this weekend. Many of those guys already committed to Mississippi State. The 2 names that people are going to be mindful of is cornerback Eddie Smith out of Salmon High School in Slidell, Louisiana, and offensive tackle Ryan Winkle from Christian Brothers School outside of Memphis. That's going to be those are the 2 undeclared prospects that will be on campus. Griffin McDowell, longtime Mississippi State commitment, is going to be there. Nathaniel Watson out of Maplesville, Alabama, is going to be in town. Jaden Crumity, defensive end from Oak Grove, will be here, and then Shamar Kilby-Lane will be here. So it's a half dozen visitors this weekend, unless something changes in the next 24 hours.
Now, Watson and McDowell are longtime commits that didn't sign on the early signing period, so they will be coming in, and State is still recruiting those guys. So tell me about those 2. Is it a chance that Mississippi State – I mean, this is very key. They don't want to lose them. So this is a big weekend for those 2 guys, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of a watershed weekend in many respects. McDowell has 3 official visits set, and that's something that I think 2 months ago we would not have forecasted. But I think with the coaching change and because he was a guy, pardon me, that wasn't set to sign in December, he's had some new suitors come along. He's expected to visit Louisville next weekend and Florida that final weekend. But what's interesting enough is that both of those schools have not extended scholarship offers. And so I think that's probably something when they have that one-on-one meeting with Moorhead this coming weekend at Mississippi State, they'll sit down and discuss that. It's, you've got a sure thing here at Mississippi State, and no need to jeopardize that on a maybe because these other programs are saying, oh, well, we want you to visit and then we'll offer. It's kind of a good rule of thumb. If you're a committed guy, you don't take a trip somewhere else unless you've got an offer from that school.
Let's talk Eddie Smith. That's an exciting name, a 4-star cornerback out of Salmon High School. Cornerback definitely a position of some need at Mississippi State. I know Tennessee's in the mix. Other teams, I'm sure, are in the mix. Tell me about Eddie Smith.
really like Eddie Smith. He's a former TCU commitment, but he's a guy Mississippi State's recruited now for nearly 2 years, and he's a guy that had a great relationship with Terrell Buckley. And so that's one of the ways that Mississippi State's kind of gotten back in the picture here. It's because once Eddie Smith reopened his recruitment, decommitted from TCU, and Buckley was retained at Mississippi State, he lets him know that, gets back in contact with him, and now you're going to get him on campus for a visit. You know, we do know that Tennessee has essentially told Eddie Smith that he is a take for them today, that if he wants to be a volunteer, they're ready for him to go. Alabama has scheduled an official visit with him very late in the process, and that's really kind of a power move from Alabama, because it's really an attempt to kind of keep him in play while they see the traffic clear. You know, it's like if that kid knows he's got a visit upcoming with Alabama, he's a lot less likely to commit to somebody else. And so I think that's really kind of what's in play there. So that visit may or may not materialize. As of right now, the Final Four, Missouri, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi State. He has visited Tennessee. I really don't see Missouri as a big factor. I think ultimately this boils down to a Tennessee-Mississippi State battle.
Ryan Winkle is a big offensive tackle out of the Memphis area, and I believe State really kind of heated up on him once Jerome Carvin decided to go to Tennessee. So Ryan Winkle now in the picture for Mississippi State as an offensive lineman. Talk about Ryan Winkle for a second.
Well, Ryan's a guy, he's a big tackle body. You know, he's a 6'6", 300-pounder, and he's a guy that Mississippi State's been recruiting for a while, but due to a numbers crunch, you know, they were a little reluctant to offer him, and as you mentioned, once Jerome Carvin signed with Tennessee, Winkle was offered almost immediately. It's one of those things you almost wish you could have gotten that done a couple days earlier and gotten him signed in December, because he does have an official visit set to Arkansas for next weekend. He tells me as late as yesterday that there are no other official visit plans. He's taken a visit to Northwestern already. But in the end, it looks to be a Mississippi State-Arkansas battle. The one thing that he has said more than once to me is the fact that Mississippi State has been up front with him about their number situation and have recruited him throughout the process. He doesn't feel like an afterthought to Mississippi State. You know, there were some other people, of course, that have kind of jumped in late with him. But the fact that Mississippi State has been on him, he's had an opportunity to attend some home football games this year. Those are big to him, and those are his own words. You know, that loyalty means a lot to him, and I think ultimately, if Mississippi State signs him, that will be the main reason why.
There are 2 weekends after this one before signing day. Can you give me an example of a couple names of uncommitted prospects that State might try to cycle in through Starkville and visit over the last 2 weekends?
Yeah, I think that kind of remains to be seen. You know, Rashad Williams out of Memphis was the guy that was expected to visit this weekend. There was talk
cornerback,
about
right?
having him. Yeah, and currently committed to Vanderbilt. And but you know, he's the guy that it's not going to be brought in this weekend. And you know, should something happen with Eddie Smith and things go south, I think Rashad Williams is the way to go. Matter of fact, I would already have him scheduled. I really like him. I think he's a good player. And I think no matter where he ends up, he kind of reminds me a little bit of former Vandy cornerback Andre Howe. Howe, that's now with Houston, Texas, but out of Port Allen, Louisiana. But Williams is a 6'2", 6'3" type guy, and those type guys that can move and flip their hips and run don't come along very often. So I'd like to see maybe that get rekindled a bit. That whole situation is kind of cooled a little bit this week. And then there's some other guys. I think a lot of what's going to happen the final 2 weekends is kind of predicated on what happens this weekend. If Nathaniel Watson, who's been a long-time Mississippi State commitment, which pretty much reaffirms, then I think some other prospects lose an opportunity at Mississippi State. If he decides, you know what, I'm dead set on playing receiver and I'll go to Ole Miss if I have to do it, then I think you might even pull the offer. I think this weekend you've got to have an understanding on both sides, from his perspective and the Mississippi State side. This is going to continue. We're going to sign, and here's the plan. And if not, that'll impact some people. But if he reaffirms, if Griffin McDowell reaffirms, and let's say Ryan Winkle commits soon, and Eddie Smith commits soon, then there's really not a lot of spots left. I think at that point you're just kind of waiting out Fabian Lovett, who's already taken an official visit. And so other than some preferred walk-ons or possibly some guys that will be replacements or priority targets, I don't anticipate a lot of traffic those final 2 weekends.
So is it safe to say cornerback and maybe offensive line are the 2 positions where State is definitely trying to get an extra body? And, you know, if they have to scramble after, you know, say if all of these fall apart and they have to scramble and get somebody, they're going to try to fill those spots with a cornerback and offensive lineman. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think that's correct. And I think that's one of the things for the Jim Moorhead era. You want to get off on solid footing and get a nice solid close here to that first recruiting class. You don't want to have one of these Hevesy-esque offensive line recruitments, with the final week where you're kind of running around trying to go grab somebody and just plug a body in and have somebody to make it through practice. And so I think they've identified some good players. It's just a matter now of getting closed. But you're right about corners and offensive line. If you look, Mississippi State played 6 corners most of the time last year. 2 of those guys are gone. You've got Tyler Williams coming off a redshirt year, so there's going to be an opportunity for somebody, a young guy, to get in there and play this year. And I certainly think Eddie Smith has the ability to do that. So that and offensive line, of course, that's always kind of an ongoing saga at Mississippi State is offensive line recruiting. And so I feel like they've identified the right targets. It's just now a matter of cleaning up the green and getting in fresh.
2 more questions, and then I'll let you go, Steve. We're talking to Steve Robertson of Scout.com, GenesPage.com. You know who Steve Robertson is. I don't have to introduce him. But we're talking to him about recruiting. Mississippi State getting ready for an official visit weekend. So let me ask you a question. You're around the state. You talk to people all over the state. This staff is almost entirely new. You got some holdovers, but Joe Moorhead, Charles Huff, all these guys are pretty much new to the area. How's it going over? How is this staff being accepted throughout the state of Mississippi?
Well, it's still a little early to tell, and I think the early returns are good just because, Joe was so personable, and I think that he's done a good job kind of selling, his brand to people when he's been out on the road, and he's been in a lot of Mississippi high schools over the course of the last few days. So the early returns are good. I think when we'll really get a sense of the true opinions of these coaches is during the spring evaluation period. One of the things I'll give Dan Mullen a lot of credit for is he made sure that Mississippi State was in every high school in the state every year. And that's something that has to happen. And I think that's one of the reasons that Mississippi State's done so well in-state is because those high school coaches saw Mississippi State coaches not just when they had a blue chip or an SEC caliber guy, but they saw them every year. And there's a lot of times these guys network. I mean, these big-time coaches, when they get together with some of their friends in the G5 or other conferences, they'll say, hey, look, there's a kid we're not going to take, but he's a good player. You should go see him. And I think everybody benefits when everybody does the work, and that's really what happens. So I expect Joe Moorhead, based on what I've heard about Joe, and I hope to have an opportunity to sit down and talk with him soon about some of his philosophies when it comes to recruiting. But I understand that Joe Moorhead has basically insisted as part of the daily routine for his assistant coaches that they said that there are 1 to 2 hours every single day that are set aside to focus just on recruiting. And that's something I think Mississippi State has kind of lacked in recent years. And so it'll be interesting to see how that works. But one of the things that I feel confident saying is this Mississippi State staff is going to work at recruiting on a regular basis and not just in off season.
Last question, and I'll let you go. Obviously, we need to keep winning the state of Mississippi in recruiting. Dan Mullen pretty much did a good job of that. But it looks like this staff is trying to go more national. I saw, Huff in California the other day. It looks like these guys are not letting state borders stop them from going after guys. Do you think that's going to be beneficial to Mississippi State, or what do you think going down the road?
Well, one of the things I thought Mullen did a good job working in-state and working the border states. Got some great players from Alabama over the years, and that was something that, that hadn't always been the case. But I think you go outside of your natural recruiting footprint to kind of supplement positions where perhaps that you're a little bit shy. But when it comes to quarterbacks, I think Joe Moorhead is a guy that is a tremendous play caller and runs an exciting offense. And in our backyard, there are not always enough real quarterbacks with enough arm talent and intelligence to be able to run these sophisticated schemes of the Power Five. And so I think when it comes to skill position guys, I think you got to go out there and throw a hook in the water and see who hits it. You don't find any of the kids you never offer. And so I think initially during the spring evaluation period, you go out and throw out a bunch of offers and then see who responds and then kind of go from there. But one of the things that I'll share over the course of the last 15, 16 years, there's been a lot of times where perhaps if the number 5 guy on Mississippi State's board was ready to commit, you take him, even though you still had an opportunity to recruit 1, 2, 3, and 4. But sometimes you take that guy, and maybe it's because you're such a good developer of talent, you feel like we'll be okay with our guy. But I think sometimes you probably could have gotten some guys with a higher ceiling if you're a little more patient, and then willing to put in the work to get those guys. I don't think you always have to make a decision in March or April to take a kid from your home state that's a corner that it would be available, say, in November.
All right, that's Steve Robertson. Always a pleasure to have him on the show, and that's always informative. We got recruiting coming up. I don't know that much about recruiting, but I do follow it. Steve knows everything about it. So, Steve, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Take care.
All right, that's Steve Robertson. Boy, that's always fun. That's good talk. Good talk. I kind of like the staff right now in recruiting. I don't know. Well, we really need to see more. We need to see about a year of recruiting before we can judge, but so far, so good. And I don't think they're going to be intimidated by going up against the Alabamas of the world. I don't think they're going to get scared off of guys. I don't think they're going to let state borders get in the way. Now, it is important to me, I hope, we continue to pound the state of Mississippi because I like getting the best players out of Mississippi. I like winning the Mississippi battle every year, which we've been able to do for the most part. So it is a balance. It's definitely a balance there that this staff is trying to strike, I'm sure. Basketball. Got basketball. Let's see. We did not have a show yesterday because the weather. The snow in Atlanta was just too much. I couldn't get here. Terp couldn't get here. Landshark was probably here. Who cares? But anyway, we just weren't able to get here. So I didn't get to talk about Mississippi State's win over Vanderbilt the other night. I do want to talk about it because I did see some positive signs. Now, Vanderbilt's terrible. They're an awful basketball team. Let me get that out here right now. So nothing I say here should be viewed anywhere but the premise or the prism that Vanderbilt's terrible. They are. But that's more like it. Still, the effort, the team play, the way they played, the way State played, it just showed some nice habits. It showed some nice strides in the way they need to play basketball. They played team ball. They were unselfish. I think 18 assists to 4 turnovers. They shared the ball. Nobody really took any bad shots. Yeah, there were a couple, but across the board, not a whole lot of bad shots. Still didn't make three-pointers at the clip you want to make them, but better. Better. It was a better version of Mississippi State Tuesday night against Vanderbilt, definitely. And Vanderbilt's horrible. Okay, Vanderbilt's horrible. I know on the Facebook Live they're saying, yeah, but it's just Vanderbilt. That's okay, yeah. But still, just the way we played within ourselves was better. Eric Holman is starting to assert himself, I think, as the best player on this team. He was outstanding. He can hit from outside. He can hit from inside. He can rebound. He can block shots. And he's dependable. He's very dependable. You don't see a lot of variation with him. You don't see 25 points one night and 2 the next. He's a dependable player. Quindary Weatherspoon was good the other night. And I thought all the role players were outstanding. Tyson Carter had very valuable minutes. Nick Weatherspoon is good for about 2 wow plays a game. The role players were very good. I thought it was a good win. It was a good win. Not in the sense that we beat a good team, but in the sense that we played the way State probably needs to play. We've got Alabama this weekend, at Alabama, and it looks on paper like a definite loss, and it probably will be a loss. But at some point, if we can steal a road game, it will get me feeling good about this team again. It will get me back on board feeling really good about this team. We gave a couple away. We should have won at Ole Miss. We didn't. We could have won at Auburn at home against Auburn. We didn't. So we kind of put ourselves behind the 8 ball. But if we can steal a road game from somebody, we can get back on top of that. And I think this is a pretty good opportunity. Alabama will be playing without Colin Sexton for the most part, the electric freshman from Atlanta. And, yeah, they played without him last night, and they beat Auburn. But last night against Auburn, that's a rivalry game. They were playing on pure emotion. They were playing, they were hyped up. Petty went off for like 26, 28 points. They're not going to play on that much emotion this Saturday, and I think losing Sexton against us would be bigger than losing him against Auburn. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if we'll go in there and win. We probably won't. But I like what I saw of the basketball team Tuesday night. Now the stage is set for the women's basketball team. Huge, huge, huge game in Knoxville, Tennessee this Sunday. Mississippi State, number 3 in the country. Tennessee, number 6, I believe. Tennessee's got 1 loss. Mississippi State, undefeated, one of 3 undefeated teams left in the country this year. So it's a big game. How amazing is it that we've come this far, this fast, to where we go into a top 10 showdown in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're the favorite. We're the higher-ranked team. That's amazing. That's amazing. It wasn't long ago we were celebrating our first win over Tennessee in school history. And Tennessee kind of stole one from us last year. I think the last weekend of the year they beat us in Starkville and kind of ruined some things. So, big game. Huge game for Mississippi State. This will really tell you if this next stretch will tell you how ready this team is to make another deep run in March. You got 3 top 11 teams on the schedule in the next 2.5 weeks. at Tennessee, home to South Carolina, home to Missouri, all in the top 11. So big-time basketball coming up for this women's basketball team. It's a fun time to be a women's basketball fan at Mississippi State. Fun time to be a State fan, period, with the way Vic Schaefer has built this thing and how excited we've got. Now, that February 5th game against South Carolina, probably going to be a sellout. Probably going to be – it could threaten the all-time attendance record of the Hump. Not for a women's game, but for the Hump. It could threaten that. And that's incredible. That is incredible. Today's top 5, I just run out of sports topics every now and then. I run out of sports topics. So every now and then I like to give you a pop culture one or just something outside of the norm. If that's not for you, turn the podcast off. That's fine. I'll see you Monday. But it's fun for me. And it's fun I want a Facebook Live. I'm coming back to you. I want to discuss this topic. Today's top 5 are the top 5 songs I will scream at the top of my lungs in the car, but when somebody pulls next to me, I will turn them down for fear of being embarrassed. I've really got to shorten that. I really have to shorten that. Number 5, classic song right here, Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Boy, if you don't get going when that song comes on, you can go the hell on. Woo! Man! That song right there gets you going. And if it's on, I'm driving down I-75 on my interminable drive to get here every single day that takes 7 hours, and that song comes on, I'm probably hitting somebody. That song will get you going. Most of these are women's songs, okay? Let's be honest. I'm 6'5", 280 pounds. I'm 38 years old. I'm as white can get. And when these songs come on by women artists, I just go crazy. I go crazy. Now, men's songs I can sing and not be embarrassed. Number 4, it's a early 2000s gem right here. Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson. Since You've Been Gone. Remember Since You've Been Gone? Since You've Been Gone. Oh, man. I can't breathe for the... I just hurt my hand. That hurt. I didn't even put Shake It Off by Taylor Swift on here. I love that song. Number 3, going back to when I was 12 years old, in West Point, Mississippi, and Mariah Carey would come on the radio singing Emotions. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Now, some of you might not be getting with these songs. I don't care. You got your own list. I want to talk about your list. But I know every word and every of that song. And there's a lot of Number 2, showing my age again, or showing what generation I come from. Any song from the mid-'90s by Boys to Men. Could be End of the Road. Could be On Bended Knee. Could be anything. But if Boys to Men comes on, stuff's going crazy. It's going crazy. And number 1, the most embarrassing song that I will sing, it's actually my karaoke song. So if we ever get together in karaoke and you say, what are you going to sing? I'm going to look at you dead in the eye and I'm going to say, bye, bye, bye. In sync. Bye, bye, bye. That song is so great. I mean, I don't listen to In Sync, but come on. When that song comes on, yes, raise your hand. Nobody's got their hand raised. Okay. Okay. That's very depressing. What am I doing with my life? Did I just do that? Can we erase the last 5 minutes from the video? We cannot. Okay. All right.
Erase it from the podcast.
No, let it go.
You didn't put
let it go.
What's that Vanessa Carlton song? 1,000 Miles.
1,000 Miles.
That's a good one.
It's a good one, but I don't really
sing that one.
I sing it, but I don't get really into it. There's more, like Foolish Games by Jewel and Redneck Woman by Gretchen Wilson. And there's a bunch of songs that I'll just go crazy over. But that's my top 5. Somebody said Let It Go on the Facebook Live from the movie Frozen, and that's a fantastic one that I wish I'd thought of. But I didn't. All right, here I come, Facebook Live. I know you probably, the debate is probably raging right now over these songs. Some of you are calling me an idiot and a loser, and that's fine. That's fine. Until next time on the podcast, my name is Brandon Walker. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. I hurt my hand. I hurt my hand when I was yelling. Buster Bone, I have some vinyls I can share to widen your non-boy band taste. I only said one boy band. All right? I only said one boy band. NSYNC was the only boy band on that list. Brandon, you are definitely a redneck ugly woman for sure. That's rude. Wayman Hodge says Boyz II Men is baby making music. Maybe that's why I like them so much. Maybe that's why I have so many kids. Kids everywhere at my house. I don't know where they come from. They're everywhere. Anything Alanis Morissette. Not bad. You Ought to Know. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Boyz II Men is a boy band? No, they're not. No, they're not. It's right there in the name. They become men. They're a men band. They're a man band. That doesn't make it better, does it? Okay. I appreciate a white guy who loves Boyz II Men. I love Boyz II Men so much. I went to their concert in Memphis, February something 1995. It was great. It was fantastic. How is Caesar doing? Still in a coma, still fighting it. Signs are good. We're putting together a group to go see him today, and I'll have a bigger update hopefully on him Monday. Miley Cyrus party in the USA. Hey, takes all kind. Well, I can't sit here and laugh at anybody, can I? Not after the list I just put forward. Law of Nature, hard to be macho, blaring some Law of Nature. A little before my time, I guess. A little before my time. Hanging Tough by New Kids on the Block. Wow. Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought about that one. But again, the premise is songs that you would be embarrassed by when somebody else pulls up next to you. I would not be embarrassed singing Bohemian Rhapsody. Again, if somebody pulled up next to me, I would just assume they'd start singing with me. There are some songs that you don't care because they don't really embarrass you. Like Sweet Caroline, everybody sings that. Nobody's going to get embarrassed. Now we got Boyz II Men jokes. Jump Around by House of Pain. Not bad. Keep on Loving You by Bachman Turner Overdrive. All right. Now we're getting somewhere, guys. Terp is just learning all kinds of new songs over there. He's 16 years old. He's learning all kinds of new songs. Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. I like it. Bop by Hanson also got consideration for the list, but I don't know the words. I've heard it 3,000 times. I don't know the words. I don't know what he's saying. What is he saying? Devil Went Down to Georgia. Two guys in a row say Devil Went Down to Georgia. Yeah, that's a good song. The other day, my wife was putting my kids to sleep, and she was making up a story. And I overheard her, and she was telling the kids that the devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind. He was way behind. I'm like, wait a minute. You're just copying songs from Charlie Daniels. Brian Sis says he doesn't know either. What do I not know? Hotel California? I don't. Hotel California is one of those songs that has a. Okay, maybe it's best I don't say what I want to say. I love the Eagles, and Hotel California is like their most famous song. But is it in the top 10 of best Eagles songs? It's not to me. It's not. Is he eating wings?
Definitely not wings.
Was that
a brownie?
Brownie? No, I'm not doing a brownie. I got wings now. If we were wings, we'd talk.
That's it. Free
brownies. Oh. All for Love by Color Me Bad. How Has My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion not been mentioned? That's my number one, says Thomas Loftus. It's a good one. Yeah, that's definitely one. That's definitely one. Somebody said Genie in a Bottle. Somebody says Crisscross. I'm not ashamed of Crisscross. I'm not ashamed of the Miggity Mac. I'm not ashamed of that at all. I'm not wiggity whack. Who do you think I am? We Didn't Start the Fire because he mentions Ole Miss. He does, Billy Joel, in his 1989 classic, We Didn't Start the Fire. You used to be walking down the hall singing Boys to Men. That's true, Thomas Lenore. That is true. That is true. Hey, Thomas, we went to high school together. Will you tell these people I could dunk a basketball and could dunk it well?
I don't believe that.
I don't care what you believe. I got two. Oh, Derek Whitford's here today, too. I got two people that went to high school with me that can tell you right now that Brandon Walker could dunk the heck out of a basketball. Any TLC song, not embarrassed? Derek Whitford says he's seen it. So there you go, Terp. Is that enough for you?
No. I need evidence.
Photographed by Def Leppard. Asia, heat of the moment. Heat of the... Okay. Oh, I got you. No, it's not on a 7-foot goal. All right. It's whatever. Mike Angelo says he can't see that. I don't care what you can see, Mike. Get off me. Holman is the go-to guy in basketball now. We played great team ball against Vandy. That's what I was saying. I think Vandy's terrible, but we still played a lot better. Just the way we played was better. The style of play was better. The unselfishness was better. The everything was just better. And even if we go to Tuscaloosa and lose, if we play like that, I don't know that I'd be upset. I'd be upset. One Sweet Day by Mariah and Boys to Men. Derek Whitford says that. Kenny Manning says Afternoon Delight. Michael Clyburn says white guys can't jump. That's not true. Not true. I wish you guys could come to the studio one day and hear Terp's ridiculous theory that if something went wrong in the office and he had to jump from this window to that tree outside, he could do it. That tree is 20 feet away.
No, it's not. I can make it 10 out of 10 times. No doubt.
He's going to die. There's no way. There's no chance. Somebody said my ding-a-ling. Dancing Queen. Brandon, do you dunk like the Bulls guy who landed on his face last night? Chris Dunn.
You see that?
He landed on his face. Ooh, that was rough. Wright, Peters, and Q had no bad turnovers, if memory serves. Maybe one or two, but not much. I know Q had one for sure because I was like, he's really taking care of the ball. But not much. If we had played like we played Tuesday against Auburn, we would have won that game by double digits. I think I agree with that. Maybe not double digits. Auburn's good, but we would have won that game. And we played well for a half against Auburn and then it just went to crap. But we played well against Vanderbilt. Even when they'd make a little run, we didn't panic. We just calmed down, got it done. Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard, says Jim West. Not bad. We only had 4 turnovers in that game. Yes, 18 assists, 4 turnovers. That's an outstanding ratio. That's a phenomenal. Now, again, Vanderbilt's bad, but again, that's an outstanding ratio. Holman was very, very good that night. Holman was very good. People say, why does he shoot so many threes? Why don't he go down low? Well, he can score down low, but he's also far and away the best three-point shooter on the team. Not even close. We would be formidable if we can make a 3. I still don't understand how we have it. I feel like a correction is coming. Numbers-wise, I feel like a correction is coming. We're not as bad as we've shot. Lamar Peters and Wright, they're not 17% three-point shooters. They're not. Tyson Carter's not a 28% three-point shooter. I think the correction is coming. Jeremy D says, thanks for the stat. I don't look things up because I'm lazy. See, we're honest on this show. We're honest. We're family here. If he's lazy, he can tell me he's lazy. I'll look up a stat for him. I'm not. Oh, by the way, 4 people took me up on the offer that they wanted the intro to be their ringtone or whatever, the intro to this show, and I emailed it to them. So 4 people got satisfied by me emailing them the intro to this show and the raw song with the Hail State Electric guitar. So if you want it, I'm making a last-time offer. If you want it, message the Facebook account that we're watching this on, Mississippi State Bulldogs SEC Country. Message that account. I'll go see it, and then I'll give me your email address, and I'll email you the raw file of the intro. If you want it. If you don't want it, you don't have to.
Why don't you just send it back on Facebook? Not easier.
One guy said he couldn't save it that way, so I just went back and emailed it to everybody because I'm not lazy like you. Jay Hammer says he wants it. So again, Jay, just follow the protocol. Message whatever I just said, and then we'll email it to you. I'll have it to you by 1:00 if you go ahead and give me that email address. Is Peters not good enough to start? Mike Angelo. Peters is good enough to start. Nick Weatherspoon needs to start. You can't start them together. They're both point guards. Who would be the backup? So I think one of them needs to be the energy off the bench, and if Peters can grow into that role, and he was good at it the other night, then that's perfect use for him. But he's good enough to start, yeah. How can I send you a pic? I found a funny land shark pic. Again, send me a message. This Facebook account, Mississippi State Bulldogs, SEC Country. Anything you want to say to me, you message that account, and I'll get it. It's 12:32. Land shark. She seems okay. She hasn't developed her twitch yet, or whatever. Remember when she was playing the bassoon that day? She was playing the cello.
Cello? What is a bassoon?
It's also a big thing like that.
Thing?
Yeah.
I was playing the violin today.
Were you?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. Ginger Tuck says, I hope we beat Bama. I also hope we beat Bama. Who said the Pina Colada song? Kenny Manning says the Pina Colada song. What's the name of that song? And who sings it? Is it Rufus something? Who sings the Pina Colada song? Damn it.
I know. You want me to tell you?
It's Rufus? Is it Rufus something?
It's close, but not Rufus.
Or is it
Rupert?
Rupert Holmes?
Holmes, yep.
What's the name of the song?
Escape.
Yes. Rufus is close to Rupert. If your name is Rupert, you answer to Rufus too. I mean, that's too close. Cheeseburger in paradise. That does sound delicious, Grace. It does sound delicious. I would definitely take a cheeseburger in paradise. I'd take a cheeseburger anywhere right now. Doesn't even have to be in paradise. Be in the hallway. Cheeseburger in the elevator. Just wherever. Bring me a cheeseburger. Wayne from New Orleans, how is Lamar Peters doing? He and Keaton went to the same high school. Lamar Peters did exceptionally well the other night. I thought he was very good off the bench, took good shots. Lamar Peters has a lot of talent and is a good basketball player. And at times he has let it get away from him a little bit, but I'm really excited about if he can play the way he played the other night. That helps Mississippi State a lot. Again, Wayne Briggs, the grandfather of Keaton Thompson, Mississippi State's future starting quarterback, future star at starting. I got in an argument with an Ole Miss guy on Twitter. I don't know why, because I know they're just saying stupid things. They were like, Keaton Thompson's not going to be a star. Have you watched him play? Did you watch the Tax Slayer Bowl? You can't watch him play and not come away thinking he's going to be a future star. He is. Hey, how can I get the ringtone? Says Kenny Manning. Okay, so Kenny, here's the steps. He's messing with me, isn't he? Is he messing with me?
100%.
Okay.
That's why he had the laughing emoji at the end of it.
I thought he was crying.
It's definitely laughter.
I thought he was so moved by talking to me that he was moved to tears.
No, the crying is the two streams of water down the face. That's two little drops.
Oh,
Sigh.
I see. I didn't know there was that much.
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right. All right. You ready? Okay. Good talk today. Talked music, talked football. Steve Robertson was good, as always. Really enjoyed Steve Robertson talking about the future of Mississippi State football and recruiting. Michael Clyburn just says Brandon is old. That's mean-spirited is what that is. That's hurtful. That's just hurtful. And I'm not that old. Terp, am I that old?
Yeah, probably.
I hate you. I've never enjoyed you as a person. Okay. We'll be back on Monday in the wake of a state win against Alabama. That's what I'm saying. And if they don't win against Alabama, we'll still be back on Monday. Until next time, my name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country.